Welcome back to the Gooner Fanzine TV podcast. 24 hours after another really frustrating game for Arsenal fans, and after a week that's left me sitting here wondering how such a positive atmosphere at the start of the season has become what can only really be described as poisonous, really. Looking forward to get the thoughts of this fantastic panel. I've got Rosie, I've got Serge, I've got Leif, I've got Glenn, and I've got podcast first timer Dan Mountney. He's made a few videos recently. I'm going to come to you first, Dan. Obviously, the biggest talking point is going to be Xhaka.
Yeah.
You were in the press box on Sunday. When you were watching him walk off, what was the moment where you thought, this is really disrespectful?
I mean, as soon as he threw the armband at Aubameyang, really, it's just such a sign of disrespect. Obviously, you look at Arsenal's history, and there's been great leaders, Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira, Frank McClintock, fantastic captains, and that's just such a sign of disrespect. If you watch it back, he kind of brings it on himself, obviously, when his number goes up. There's loud cheers from the crowd. You know, the fans don't really appreciate him as a player, and they don't really rate him as a player. It's understandable. He kind of slows the tempo of the team down. You see when he's not in the Europa League team that the tempo is so much quicker. Yeah. But by walking off as slow as he did at 2-2, when the team needs to win the game, considering the other results over the weekend, he brought it on himself. And then, for me, it was the way he reacted when he went off the pitch. Firstly, he's the captain, he's the leader of the team, he's the one player you should look at and go, he's meant to be driving us forward. And you've got 18-year-old Bukayo Saka who's coming on, and he goes for the handshake and he just kind of slaps his arm away. That's the first sign of disrespect for me, you don't do it. And then his manager, Emery, has put so much faith in him to be captain when there's, for me, plenty of other people who should be leading that team. He rejects a handshake, carries on walking, and then to take off his shirt and throw it to the ground is the ultimate sign of disrespect. You just don't do it. You wouldn't see that from people like Tony Adams or even players who aren't captain. People like Robert Pires, Thierry Henry, Freddie Ljungberg, who's obviously assistant manager now. You wouldn't see them throw the shirt to the ground. They understand what the name on the front means. There's that quote from Tony Adams, isn't there? You play for the name on the front, not the name on the back. And it was such a sign of disrespect. It's absolutely disgraceful. And personally, if Arsenal don't strip him of the captaincy, it shows just a complete and utter lack of leadership from board upwards, really.
It's going to be difficult to find basically a view that goes against that, really. I mean, we'll get to what should happen to him, but Rosie, what do you think it is that's wrong with him? I thought Ian Wright's analysis from that today was really interesting. He was talking about he just doesn't get into a position where he looks like he wants the ball, and he's like the main problem, I think, with Arsenal playing out the back being not working, basically. What do you think it is that's left him either demotivated or...
I mean, part of me, Sergio, like this, I feel for him because he came in and a few games in, we were raving about, we had a £40 million signing that we paid for him, and then it kind of declined because we realised what type of player he really is. I just think he's a negative player. I don't think he can really help it or see why he's so negative. He's not good enough defensively to be such an anti-attack player. He's not, he can play a good ball and stuff like that, but he's not exceptional in attack. I don't really see what he offers us, and I think his problem is that I don't think...
on Sunday, though.
I'll stop.
Yes. I like it. I don't like him at all. I mean, I respect him as a person.
Yeah, okay.
As a football player, and again, what Dan was saying, it was just disgusting the way he played.
So, what do you think should happen now after this? Obviously, there's been talk, they've been saying they're going to have a conversation with him, haven't they? Yeah. How robust is that going to be, basically?
Yeah, absolutely good question.
Robust.
Yeah. Do you mind? It's me.
Not you, Glenn. Come on.
No, yeah. I mean, I've been watching Arsenal nearly 40 years. Glenn even longer than me. And
cheers.
I just got in and on. We've seen some great captains over the years. There's been some great captains from David Banskin onwards in 1886, Percy Sands, Charlie Buchan, Alex James, George Mayo. There's so many great Arsenal captains steeped in Arsenal history, basically. And we're used to really good, strong Arsenal captains who are steeped in history and who know how to behave. And Granit Xhaka's behaviour on Sunday against Crystal Palace was completely unacceptable. I don't want to get, we're not about getting sensationalist. We're not about slagging off players for the sake of it. We are measured. We've been the number one voice of Arsenal fans for 32 years, basically, with the fans since '87. But what happened against Crystal Palace in terms of Granit Xhaka's behaviour from the second Unai Emery asked him or requested him to leave the pitch was absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah.
You do not do that. And we deconstructed it the other day, like after the game against Palace, basically. He threw the armband, which is unacceptable. He cupped his ear, which is unacceptable. As Dan said as well yesterday, he waved his arm. So said that as well. Glenn said that. That was 3 complete whammies that you just don't do. He completely eschewed Unai Emery's handshake. People said, he wasn't trying to not shake his. No, you either shake your hand or you don't. And he didn't shake his hand, and he walked off. And as a lot of the guys said, and Rosie as well, Bukayo Saka is 17, 18 years old. He is looking up to his elders, as it were, in terms of real experienced players. And if you've got the captain of your club, just go, do you know what? I don't want to talk to you. I'm stropping off. I don't want to even make contact with you. That's unacceptable. Okay, so that's 4 or 5 straight off. And then he rips his shirt off. Okay, we don't know if he threw the shirt to the ground. That is what we don't know, because he walked down the tunnel basically. And you said, well, we all know where the press box is.
Still a gesture though, isn't it?
No, absolutely. So you rip your shirt off. You do not do that. Yeah. When did Tony Adams ever rip the shirt off?
Never.
When did Patrick Vieira ever rip the shirt?
Well,
when
they both used to rip shirts off other players.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, but there was 6 or 7 points there when Granit Xhaka has completely disgraced the badge, the club, the shirt, Arsenal Football Club for the fans. And if I make one more point as well, fans have said, okay, he's getting booed. No. He was getting booed when he walked off slowly. Mm-hmm. He was getting booed when he decided to raise his arms in the air. He was getting booed when he decided to disrespect the manager. He wasn't getting booed when the decision was made for him to leave the pitch. And then for me, he's got to be stripped to the captaincy.
And there's a few,
bottom line.
There's a few comparisons to this. I had a mate text me about this. When Bakayoko for Chelsea, he got absolute dogs abuse, way worse than what Xhaka got for his performances a couple of seasons ago. And you didn't see him react at all. I think for the captain of Arsenal, it was particularly bad. But also, I think it's been building, hasn't it? The behaviour of Arsenal captains, the standard of Arsenal captains getting worse, and the behaviour has been getting worse as well. Obviously, Koscielny this summer, and before that, it's just been absent captains. And what has happened to the Arsenal captaincy?
It's been 11 years since we've had a really good captain. Koscielny is not particularly useful. I mean, Per Mertesacker got captaincy and no one's ever played. All that obviously with Gallas, who had his weird little strop moment, which kind of doesn't make sense.
Fabregas in between.
And then Van Persie as well. But a lot of the captains we've had have been ineffective and pointless. All I would say is that I do think Granit Xhaka is possibly a victim of circumstance as well. Because obviously, you get a response from an action that you're not particularly happy with. So, Unai Emery taking him off, he's obviously had an issue with that, because you don't take a captain off the pitch. And him being pulled off the second time...
He has been doing that the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Exactly, so I think maybe he's going, well, I'm supposed to be the captain. Either keep me on, or don't start me, or don't make me captain. So there's that frustration, which I think Unai Emery probably hasn't really considered, which is probably a part of Granit Xhaka's response. Yes, his actions were bad, outrageous and unacceptable, and I'm not denying that at all. What I'm saying is that he was sort of pushed into that because he was being made captain. We don't know if he elect for it. No, he was apparently voted for it. He probably is well aware that he's not playing to the standard he should do. He can see the replay. He watches match of the day.
But then why is he surprised in getting substituted?
I think for him it's just sheer frustration of being put between a rock and a hard place. It's either you play well and have a captain lead, or you lead and then get taken off. He's unable to do either of those jobs. And also, in terms of the formation that he's being played under, his position, as Rosie said, he's not good at the front of the back, but he hasn't got anyone in front of him to help. Because he hasn't played Mesut Ozil.
My problem is...
What if Mesut Ozil played? Then would Granit Xhaka look like a better player?
Serge, I just want to make a point here. I said this earlier when we were having a discussion off camera. I'd like you to name me. Obviously, Granit Xhaka's been at Arsenal, 4 or 5 years now? 4 years, I think? Yeah. 3 or 4 years. Yeah. I'd like you to name me a single performance where he stood out and you could say he's been at the top of his game, he's influenced the game, he's stood out.
Well, I've got the didactic memory that Leif does.
Didactic? Have you been drinking today, sir?
That's another misplay. That's up there with, was it? Something about Gary.
Didactic, no less.
Well, I just can't remember every performance, but he has been a generically impressive player. Like, he's not been fantastic.
Serge. The question was, name one stand-up performance. If there was a stand-up performance, you'd remember it.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true. But I still think he's been forced into the position that he feels uncomfortable, and it's not. His reaction was petulant and childish, yes, but he shouldn't have been forced into that position. It's the fault of the formation and the manager around him forcing him into that.
Okay, well, as the captain and as the leader of the team, would you not then go and say to the manager, I don't feel comfortable where I'm playing, could we possibly have a change of tactics? Could I play further forward, play further back, whatever he wants? Would you not as a leader want to say that?
Of course, but he's obviously not the full leader material.
So why was he?
Then there's the problem.
Well,
exactly.
Right, this is the point I want to make.
Go on.
The point I was going to make yesterday, I don't think all that vitriol, whatever you want to call it, aimed at Xhaka was purely aimed at Xhaka. I think that a lot of that was channelled towards Emery's decision to appoint him as captain.
Yeah.
Frustration with Emery's tactics. It was kind of like, he made this guy captain. You've been taking him off for the last 2 or 3 weeks, or the last 3 or 4 games, whatever. It was kind of like, Emery, you've done this. You've made a rod for your own back, and now look at us. I think so. I think Emery's just messed up on so many levels. You know, it's probably not the captain we all know he's not the captain we need. I don't think he's equipped to lead. Just by his behaviour, walking off the pitch the way he did yesterday, as Dan and everyone else has touched on, and leaving it up to the players to vote for him and all that, it just seems a bit of a mess.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Well,
I was just say about there's been loads of stuff on Twitter. We've been all tweeting all week or whatever, but
apart from me,
because Glenn doesn't actually own a smartphone.
Still not got a smartphone.
But I almost respect that in a way.
On the Nokia, I love it.
Loyal to the
I'm not part of the hate fuel.
It's just not got bad.
Long live the brick.
Absolutely, but the thing is, it's like, people are saying, the players voted for the captain, as if Emery is some sort of passive bystander who just lets it wash all over him. Go, okay, well, it's an I can't even speak.
Democratic.
But it's a position that's just going to get to the point where you can't do anything about it. It's going to happen anyway.
Does that not just devolve responsibility?
No, hear me out. It's just like Emery is being put up as this sort of character that's just gone, I'm going to be so democratic, you guys choose. No, you're the manager. You are absolutely involved in the process where captains are chosen, because it's a massive thing for any football club, any Arsenal football club. And the fact that he's gone, Granit Xhaka is now captain. No, you are absolutely indelibly involved in that process.
Is that trying to take the responsibility off himself?
And what does that say about him as a leader?
As a leader manager, he appointed 5, and 4 of them are playing well.
Well, this is it.
One of the captains is sat home every weekend, or possibly in
the 5th one's not even there, is he?
No, so he's got, of the 4, he's got 75% success rate in captaincy.
Can I just?
So he's not that bad.
Just to counter Leif's point, obviously. Leif, you and I have kind of experienced Emery firsthand more than anyone else. Yeah. He doesn't really strike me as a person who kind of step up and make a decision by himself. No. Obviously, a lot of the talk after yesterday has been, will Xhaka be stripped of the captaincy? And personally, I don't think Emery is... Emery's got the bottle to do it.
Yeah, he's not big enough a character to make the
exactly. And I don't think he's got any kind of
that decision will come from on high.
Of course,
someone will say you've got to do that.
Yeah, someone like
it's got to.
Yeah, it should do.
It has to happen. Whether it's got to happen. Yes, it has to happen for me.
We all agree that it should happen.
Yeah,
it's whether the higher ups are going to demand it. I don't think Emery's got the bottle at all. I think Xhaka's going to start the next game, and I think he's going to have the cup.
I know you.
He'll score as well. You watch.
He does that.
You always just the home fans as well.
You always mock my notes and stuff, but in the same.
What have you got? He's written in capital letters this time.
In the same way that Emery went through this democratic process of writing 5 possible captains.
Yeah. Have you written 5?
I've got more than that. I've got more than that. But
we have 12 captains.
He's talking about David Danskin there.
I've had to whittle this down, but it's a list.
Oh my God, he's actually got 5.
A list of 5 of 5 captains that are better equipped to lead Arsenal Football Club than Granit Xhaka. Okay, right.
Go for it. In capital letters. Drum roll.
Okay. The wrong way up. So number 1, I've got Captain Caveman. Number 2, Captain Mandarin. Number 3, Captain Pugwash.
He's got to lead it for me, sorry.
You genuinely didn't expect that.
Number 4, Captain Birdseye.
And then Guendouzi.
One for the Ulsters, Captain Haddock out of Virgin Adventures of Tintin.
I love Tintin.
Any other mentions? Any other?
There were other mentions, you know.
Did you actually write that down, Glenn? Seriously?
Yeah.
I've just read it off the page. You've written it down.
He's set up.
Disgraceful.
Honestly,
Oh man!
I'll shake your hand in a minute.
Thank you.
Seriously, brilliant.
But
Even if it was in capital letters, I'm really impressed by it.
On a serious subject, you know, he was never ever had the DNA to be captain of Arsenal. As Leif has said, you know, somebody we forgot to mention was Alan Ball. He was an absolute leader.
With the white boots, yeah.
He's just not up to the job. As a player, he shouldn't be in the team. As a as a role model and a leader, what he did yesterday, walking off that pitch, was a disgrace.
I
Yeah.
mean, how many kids are going to have a Xhaka on the back of their kid now?
Well, someone's got a badge, haven't they?
Yeah, we literally did a hunt.
We bought the last and final Xhaka.
Yeah, I meant to say, as Sir defends Xhaka, he actually has a. What year is that?
Well, that's the Coquelin year, so that was
Coquelin
pre-January
The
2017.
Coquelin year.
And this is after, I've got to say, this is after we did a 12-mile walk and talk with Jake Core and a couple of hundred other really, really amazingly inspirational people for to raise awareness of mental health and
Jake.
prevent sort of male suicide and stuff. And we can sort of bring that back a little bit to more of a sort of whimsical nature. But after the game, we absolutely shattered, weren't we?
Yeah.
Jake Core was absolutely brilliant.
Massive respect for both of you.
I don't know about that.
Jake really,
Jake
he does so much.
Can I just give out a shout?
The 12-mile walk was having to talk and defend Arsenal against 200 Palace.
I know, yeah.
And not only was it's hard talking about Granit Xhaka to you, imagine 200 Palace fans.
There was a particularly good moment when we'd literally walked about 8 miles. We got to the sort of opposite the tower, opposite St Paul's Cathedral. We were obviously on the other side of the Thames. Been walking about 8 miles. We're absolutely knackered. We did an Arsenal bit because we were just fed up with Palace. No, not really. They're good lads. But we sort of did about 20 of us in front of the Thames with St Paul's Cathedral behind us. And all the Palace fans were looking at us. It was right next to the Millennium Bridge as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's tourists going past.
In the shadow of the Tate Modern.
In the shadow of the Tate Modern as well. And everyone's just looking at us going, what's going on here? And Palace started singing their Glad all over. And,
I heard that.
yeah. And then there was a sort of gap. And we just went back with one team in London. And it was just really, really good fun, basically. But we got to the Emirates. It was absolutely knackered. Jake Core and everyone did so well.
Yeah.
You know, it was absolutely brilliant. And to go back to what the original point was, after the game, we were all really tired. Sirs looked for Granit Xhaka badges.
And scarves and
t-shirts. And there wasn't any, was there?
They were sold out entirely.
That is the last piece of Xhaka merch.
They didn't make him in the first place.
They did. The man, they were so sold out, he had to find me one for 3 seasons ago.
And he probably did
That's
that
how
walk.
important it was.
He probably went from Selhurst Park to the Emirates quicker than it did to take Granit Xhaka to the pitch.
Yeah.
But honestly, on a serious note, though, you've got to wonder what is Emery going to say to him, and what's going to be the next formation now.
Well,
Emery's played different formation every game of the season.
Yeah.
So now he's going to take Xhaka out. Is that finally going to be the last straw? That means we're actually going to get Torreira playing his right position.
Well,
Ozil playing his right position.
Maybe we'll get another one of the captains in who's Mesut Ozil.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Who were the? So we talk about the 5 Arsenal captains. Who were they? So Mesut Ozil,
Hector Bellerin,
Aubameyang,
Captain Birdseye,
Lacazette,
and obviously Captain Fantastic.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Yeah.
Can I just say, you kind of mentioned it there. When Emery was speaking about this whole situation, he said, "We'll speak to him. The hierarchy will speak to him." You just get the impression that he's kind of saying it. There's not going to be any action.
After the game, he said he was wrong, quite definitively.
He was quite clear on that he was wrong, but you get the impression that there's going to be discussions, but there's not going to be any action.
You also get the impression that it's not going to be him that speaks to him.
Well,
of course, yeah.
Is that how you worded it?
I'm not sure about that.
He kept using the word "we," and someone pointed this out on Twitter when I posted this.
It should be, I'm going to speak to him.
Yes, exactly. You get the impression that it's going to be Emery and Sanalehi and Husfahimi and people like that,
but
Josh Kroenke maybe, that are going to speak to him and say, you can't do that. I personally, obviously we've all said he should be stripped of the captaincy, but I don't feel like there'll be any action.
Well, let's
which
wait.
is shocking and disgraceful.
PSG, right, he kind of lost control of the players and that. He was up against a lot of big egos. So I think he came over and he stamped, he stamped his authority, he stamped his size 9s all over Mesut Ozil's head. But is he going to sort of treat Xhaka with the same sort of authority that he has with Ozil?
What do you reckon, Rosie?
Yeah, it's interesting.
I can't see anything happening. Like the way I've seen, I mean, I've always supported Emery because he's our manager, and I thought, you know, things will get better in time. But the football this week alone has just been depressing.
We've not even mentioned that, have we, Rosie?
Yeah.
I know.
What was it like in Mönchengladbach though? Obviously, you've got a deep knowledge of him there.
It was just.
What was he like?
I thought it was just a weird decision.
Was he authoritarian though? Was he like clipping players
To the
around the
point
ear?
where he would shout and the German fans would be like, yes, let's do this.
Did they like him being captain?
Yeah, because it's a different culture over there. It's not like the captains we're used to over here. If the captain's going to big up the team and stuff like that, then that's fine. But, like, I mean, here, you have to have at least a respect for the club you're playing for. Yeah. I don't see that from Xhaka. I haven't before. But, I mean, after, what was it, Saturday, Sunday, it's just complete disrespect. It's not even that he doesn't care. He's really not. He's got nothing, no like connection with the club whatsoever, and it's disgusting to see, and I don't like.
To me, that's irreparable.
Yeah.
I just think he's created an immediate disconnect between himself and the fans, and you know, I mean, you know, we're all fairly intelligent. I like to think.
Don't be ridiculous. Speak for yourself, man.
What's a horrible statement?
There's going to be a lot, you know, like we said, you know, this sort of like echo chamber of what Twitter and stuff and that. But
Toxic echo chamber.
People are not going to forgive him, and they're just going to give him dog's abuse, is a phrase I heard earlier. And I just think there's no way back. And it's certainly, you know, he may come back into the team, but he cannot be captain.
About fans going, okay, well, he was booed. What are we saying about that?
I don't like it.
We were in the stadium. Yeah. We heard it first. He was only booed when he decided to walk off slowly. When we conceded 2 stupid sloppy goals, and we were looking for momentum. We had 25, 15 minutes.
Half an hour. He came off on the hour, so half an hour.
We needed speed and attack.
Yeah, you were there as well, Rosie. What do you reckon?
I mean, in all fairness to Xhaka, you know, he has withstood, you know, quite an untolerable amount of abuse. I think his missus has also had abuse.
Which is completely unacceptable.
Which is terrible. I don't want us to become a club. You know, I don't want us to become a club or a fan base where we're disrespecting our players.
Getting a rep, Rosie, though.
It's just, it's not acceptable. I don't want Arsenal, who we've always been, you know, I think because of Wenger, quite a classy club, you know, always show respect to at least our own players. And, you know, booing him off, okay, it may be frustration, but if it's one person walking off, how other way are you going to take it? It's personal abuse. But then, you know, the same way that he's a captain of the football club, if you're not playing well and you get abused, you do not throw your shirt off. You don't cheer. Well, you walk off and you sit down, you have a grump and talk about it educatedly. You
have a grump
in front of 60,000 people.
Oh, go on, grump.
He's been playing football for multiple teams and countries in one country for all the levels of competition. He understands, like, we need to play a more attacking team. He should know that the decision's going to come to pull him off to put on an attacking player.
Yeah.
So why is it come as a surprise? Oh, we've conceded 2. Maybe I should.
I mean, some comments before. He just doesn't seem to take it very well.
No, I mean, you look at the previous week. Kind of came out and said, "Do you know what? This isn't on. I don't want this." But you mentioned. It's just ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous situation.
Do you remember the sort of publicity before the Europa League final? We were at Colney.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke to him, didn't we?
And we're literally in the mix zone in Colney, doing sort of in-depth sort of exclusives and all this with the sort of press pack and stuff. And he was very, very spiky. When people said to him, you know, you've had a good season, he was like, well, he didn't go, oh, I've had a great season, thank you very much, you know, or whatever. Well, being modest about it, he was like, well, why wouldn't I have? You know, he was really.
I mean, as kind of a comparison, we spoke to Mustafi that day, didn't we? Squadron Mustafi, and obviously there was a lot of criticism towards him at the back end of last season about his defensive work, and that was questioned. And he said, "Do you know what? I want to improve. Obviously the criticism isn't nice, but I understand it and I want to improve." Whereas with Xhaka, when we spoke to him about the criticism, he said, "Well, why have I got this criticism?" Do you know what? Obviously Mustafi hasn't played.
Mainly by not playing,
Yeah, well, I mean, no. Hang on. I'm going to argue this. To be fair to Mustafi, in the cup games he's played, bar maybe Thursday night,
sheets out of 4,
he's been really good as Mustafi, and he's kind of stood up and said, "Do you know what? I maybe want to improve, and I want to get better." Whereas Xhaka, you look at him and you think, What has he improved? Has there been, you look at Xhaka, has there been any difference since when he first joined? Is he still playing sideways passes, going backwards, is he slowing the tempo of the game? 100% he is.
Yeah, but do you remember his attitude? I mean, I'm not
His
saying
attitude was...
that was not... I think it was a microcosm of his
of course.
character. But I got a sense that he wasn't happy even talking about...
I remember at the time, and when he kind of answered the questions, in my head I was like, whoa, hang on a minute, whoa, you can't answer like that.
Absolutely.
I think there's this sense around Xhaka that yesterday, I think they highlighted it on Match of the Day 2.
Didn't Wrighty do well?
Sort of like the game seems to be
running. Carry on. You see his face.
Wrighty would have been there all night.
Like the game always seems to be running away from Xhaka at the moment. He's running on no confidence. He seems to be in the wrong position and he's got this thing. It's almost like an ingrained petulance that was sort of like manifested when he, walked off the pitch yesterday. But also, he does it at least once a game. He loses the ball. He just has his instinct to just grab out and pull a player's shirt and that. And I just don't think he's got the temperament to control himself. So on a purely sort of like performance basis and sort of like, his psyche or whatever you want to call it, he's not the man for the job. He really isn't.
Diverting the conversation from Xhaka to the man who's supposed to be managing him, Emery. Obviously, recently it's gone downhill very fast in the last week, hasn't it? Obviously, me and Leif were at Sheffield United. That was just dreadful. And Arsenal wouldn't have scored if they played for another hour, basically. Yeah. Rosie, what do you think of his recent? I mean, it's really concerning for me. I think he's. It's very similar to the run at the end of last season where he just looked bereft of ideas. Obviously, Dan said that in our post-match reaction. What do you think? I mean, is he going to be able to find some new ideas and turn this around?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, when you've watched Arsenal this week alone, it's pretty terrible. Yeah. I've backed Unai since he came in, and I can't, even last time on the podcast, I was very, put my faith in him. But after this week, it's not even that. I dislike him as a manager. It's just the football is too bad to withstand as an Arsenal fan. We've been pretty spoiled with great football over the years, but this is just terrible. And it's not Arsenal at all. It's not Arsenal, and it's no identity to the football. I don't think he knows what his best 11 is. I don't think he knows how it's best to play the team. And for someone that trains with the squad every day, it's bizarre what's going on, and it's not great for the fans because they're just not going to want to go and watch football anymore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We've just spoken to Johnny Phillips, and we're going to put a video out with him recently. We got Saturday, we got Wolves, and he said that they're basically there for the taking, aren't they? And do you think Emery's going to be able to? Is Emery
serious?
No, we're going to get a room.
Yeah, both.
And they're there for the taking. And Johnny said, if Emery's got anything about him, does Emery have anything about him, Serge?
Well, the thing is, with Emery, he finally listened to the fans against Palace and paid the front three we've been asking for ages.
Yeah.
But the problem always lies in now that there's no midfield.
Yeah.
And until we find out or get given a reason as to why Ozil's been locked in a cupboard, we can't work out. We haven't got the team around it to play. We've already discussed Xhaka to death, obviously, but you've got the defence who do their job to a point. You've got the attack who try and do their job, but there's no one in the middle to actually provide the ball to them. You can't complain about Xhaka and Laka and Aubameyang not scoring goals if they haven't got the provision. So it doesn't matter what Emery does if he doesn't play a creative midfield. And at the moment, Ozil's not allowed to play. We haven't got any other real creative midfielders.
Why?
What are you going to do? Well, that's the question. Why? Because what's he going to do? Lump Torreira up top again? That worked so great last time, didn't it?
It's all the players in Arsenal's midfield don't seem to fit the positions that he wants.
Literally, we just need Ozil in.
Yeah.
We had the fans yesterday were singing Ozil's name, and Glenn's eyes lit up like a child at Christmas.
Oh, yeah. I was nearly in tears.
Yeah. But we were in the ground at Sheffield United, and I remember watching every time Arsenal playing out from the back, everyone was shouting, and there was one time where Leno just randomly kicked it long, and everyone was cheering. Yeah. It was just so poor, and it just looks like. I just thought City are in exactly the same situation constantly, and they find their way out of it in 3 passes. Arsenal, they just stand in a line of 4 and just pass it between each other until they lose the ball. Yeah. Well, and I think that's purely because Xhaka and I have to say Guendouzi as well don't get in the positions to ask for the ball, do they?
I did a tweet yesterday at the game, and basically said we're a team that plays out from the back, but we can't.
Yeah.
We've got a manager who believes in a pressing game, but we don't press.
Yeah.
We've got a coach who sort of doesn't coach. We've got a creative player who doesn't create because he's not playing. What's going on with Arsenal? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
such a
frustrating.
So different to the start of the season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone was so optimistic, weren't they?
Yeah, but what did we see at the start of the season?
Yeah.
Not a lot. I mean, the Burnley game, there was so much optimism around that. And I was going, we've just struggled to beat Burnley 2-1. Somebody else had a good game.
I struggled against everyone.
I generally don't think there's been one really good performance, possibly in the second half against Spurs. But, as I said earlier on, a few weeks ago, roller coaster ride, every game, 2-0 up, 2-0 down or whatever, but, it's just
They just make it really
fundamentally
difficult
wrong.
And the thing is, with the playing out the back thing, every single team knows you press Arsenal high at the goal kicks.
Yeah.
You literally just mark every
and you've
player.
got a crowd
The
behind the
Watford
keeper.
game. Do you remember the Watford game? That was just that was shocking, wasn't
All
it?
of them have got that, and it's does Emery have enough about him to find his way out of that, where teams have found out your strategy this early in the season? What do you do now?
Let Dan speak in a sec, but I just want to bring it back to what he said about Watford. You did your interview with Lee Dixon. He said that was possibly one of the worst Arsenal performances he'd ever seen in his life.
Yeah, second half. Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I just on a couple of points. Firstly, Serge, you mentioned about Pepe, Aubameyang, and Lacazette playing together. You go back a few years, and when we had Ozil, Sanchez, and Lacazette when he first joined. There was plenty of talk about kind of those three playing together, and they didn't play together that often. Obviously, Sanchez left mid-season. You've got to look at that and possibly at the situation now and say, Emery can't be blamed for that. There's obviously players who come back to fitness, Lacazette especially. Pepe had a long summer at the African Cup of Nations. You can look at that and say maybe that's kind of been out of his control. But the playing out from the back just frustrates me. Obviously, Leif, you all know this more than anyone. In the press box, you're meant to stay composed and unbiased. But at Sheffield United, there was one point when they played out from the back, and I just lost it. I just absolutely lost it. I literally just sat there and went,
Never.
Never fans. I just sat there and went, just stop, just kick the ball long. There's points, if you look at Guardiola's system, there's obviously the brilliance of playing the ball out from the back, giving it to Laporte, giving it to Stones, playing it to midfield. It's fantastic. We all love that football. But there's points if you watch Man City that maybe don't feature on the highlights, where they just kick the ball long, where they know there's situations where they can't deal with it. We don't have the quad. We have Socrates and David Luiz. I'm not a fan of David Luiz. I'm a big fan of Socrates. I thought he was superb on Sunday night. But they're not the kind of players who want to play the ball out from the back, who want to get the ball at their feet and ping a 30-yard pass into midfield. They're not those kind of players. Luiz has kind of made a career on that. And to be honest, I think he's terrible.
I think Emery said play it out from the back every single time, and there's been a few times where Socrates
you've got to adapt. You have to adapt.
As Dan said, this is the problem. Okay, right? It's become really robotic, and I think they play under fear. We must do this. You look at Liverpool and City, and even Spurs yesterday. The reserve keeper, they spot an opportunity and they ping a really good long kick. I mean, the Spurs keeper hit a ball yesterday. It was phenomenal. Sort of like swerved round over the defence. And
the thing I said today
it's taking opportunities and it's game management and being able to have the confidence to do that. We just seem to be drilled into we have to play this way and that, and then sort of like fear becomes instilled into the team. We're going, we've got to do this, we've got to pass it back, we've got to do that. And the options and the meters narrow and narrow and narrow. The crowd's behind them going, come on, just get it up front and that. And we're playing on nerves in the end.
Yeah. The thing is, people say, come on, just get up front. But if there's Aubameyang and Lacazette playing striker, it's neither of them trap the ball particularly well. I don't think Arsenal playing forward is good. They basically they've just got to play short properly, and I don't think that's that hard to drill.
Yeah, but Toby, you could argue this. You've got Aubameyang up front. I said this against Sheffield United, didn't I? If you drop deep and you bring it, if Aubameyang and Lacazette drop deep, the centre-backs aren't just going to stand there 20 yards away. They're going to come and follow them. So then you play long. You've got Aubameyang, who's literally the quickest player in the league. That's obviously up for debate, but I think he's the quickest player in the league. Just play it over the top. He's got 20 yards of space in behind the back four. Just get into them. And then you've got players like Pepe and Lacazette and Ceballos and Willock, who are going to get up and support them. Just use your nous, use your head. Playing out from the back is obviously a fantastic start. We all love it. We all love watching Barcelona back in the day, and obviously Man City under Guardiola. But just play to your strengths. You've got a lightning quick attack in Pepe, Aubameyang, Xhaka, players like that. Just get in behind. Use the pace. It's simple logic.
Dan,
there's mistakes being made under Emery that are just ridiculous. You look at Lucas Torreira. He's one of the best holding midfielders in the league. Correct. I mean, we spoke to Lee Dixon, who said you watch him for Uruguay and he just stands in the middle and plays left to right, left to right. Just do it. It's simple.
And he keeps ending up in the box when he plays.
Yeah, we could all sit here and we could easily, obviously there's one or two up for debate. We could easily name Arsenal's best 11. I don't think there'd be many names that are up for debate. It's simple stuff, and the mistakes are just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Do you not think some of the frustration with the fans is that it seems to me that the fans have almost anticipated and can foresee the problems that we've got and what he's not doing right, and it seems to be taking him ages to realise this. You know, Xhaka being a case in point. I don't want to get back onto that.
Yeah,
but you know, everyone's a manager and stuff, but I do feel that at the moment the fans seem to know best. You know, I mean, Torreira, like you say, we spoke to Lee Dixon.
Yeah,
he said he covered the Uruguay games, like you said. He said absolutely brilliant player. All he did was sit. He would go left to right. Centre half went up. He'd cover him for them. And why does he play him out of position? Why is he on the bench?
Or why doesn't he play it?
I didn't see every corner on Sunday, but I did notice that obviously for the two goals,
Pepe does take a good corner.
Pepe whipped it in.
Yeah.
And in Sheffield United, there was massive frustration because every time Ceballos would run over when he came on, and he'd play it short every time, and everyone was urging him
Ceballos did one corner.
He left Sheffield United as well, didn't he?
Ceballos did one corner against Palace where he tried to play trick short and close to the box, and it almost worked, but didn't quite, and then Pepe just took back over again. So he has got some attempts. Obviously, the training ground, they are trying new things.
Yeah.
But one of the things you've got to work out is obviously the fans are baying for all these players to come back. Bellerin came back and a few weeks ago and wasn't obviously.
Well, he's not. It's going to take ages for Bellerin.
Lacazette wasn't match fit either.
Yeah.
So we're trying to force these things through, and obviously the players aren't quite at the state what we think they are at quite yet.
I agree with you.
I think one thing we're trying to force as well is playing players that aren't at the capabilities of Mesut Ozil to try and compensate for the missing person that is Mesut Ozil. I mean, I have, because I'm watching Arsenal and I'm like, what does this game need? To be fair, it's Mesut Ozil. You know, how can you watch a game of football like we have for the last week?
I've said all along.
Do you know what? Rosie, you make a fantastic point there.
Sorry, let Rosie finish. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's cool. You know, I owe it to you that I was wrong, but no. It's just we're trying to overcompensate for Mesut Ozil not being there.
To be fair, Rosie's got Glenn's ticket for Wednesday night.
Yeah, I'm being very nice. No.
I'd sell it, mate. Not worth it.
No, I just think we're looking for things that Mesut Ozil can do quite simply from players that can't do it simply. I don't know why we're playing, 4-3-3 with three holding midfielders. It makes no sense when we've got an attack. Like we've been saying, why should we expect a centre-back to spritz the ball over the top when we've got someone where you could play it holding midfield to Mesut Ozil, who can break lines pretty easily?
When was the last time Ozil changed the game?
Toby.
The last time he played,
he got an assist.
Yeah. And it was a brilliant ball.
He slipped the ball through to Maitland-Niles.
But that's because the entire performance of the team.
I'm telling you now, yesterday, that there is always an option where Mesut Ozil will create something.
Yeah.
It can be as crap as you want, or not running back, or huffing and puffing. He will create something. And I'll tell you what, yesterday we're always relying on Pepe to be the creator.
Yeah. So why doesn't Emery pick Ozil?
Do you know what?
Creates him.
Why?
He does.
Why?
There's got to be
I don't know. Do you know what?
I've played devil's advocate.
Ask Dan, he knows.
Do you know what?
I talk to people inside the club as well.
I've given up. I'm fed up with it.
Do you know what? This is a really sad thing I've done recently. And after the Nottingham Forest,
You do a lot of sad things.
I know I do, mate. Sorry. But after the Nottingham Forest game, I do you know what? I really thought he played poorly, and I slagged him off. But since then, do you know what? I'll accept that I was wrong. I said that he didn't create much, he didn't do well. I'll accept that I'm wrong because I watched the game back.
Blimey.
I know it doesn't come off.
He's
does it?
always probing and passing.
Do you know this is the point? I watched that game back, and then I've watched the recent games, and I've found the clips of the entire game. And if you watch it, you've got the midfield three of Xhaka, Guendouzi, Ceballos / Willock, whoever you want in there.
Yeah.
You've got the front three of Saka, whoever, Aubameyang, Pepe.
Yeah.
The place and the point on the pitch where you create chances is that gap in between midfield and defence.
Totally.
Yeah.
And there's literally no one there.
Yeah.
They're trying to link attack and defence, and there's absolutely no one. They're trying to play 30-yard passes, and they're just getting picked off.
Yeah.
Arsenal have the perfect player to play in that position in Mesut Ozil. Yes, as Glenn said, you can criticise his lack of effort, his lack of running, but if you find players around him to compensate for that, and granted Xhaka is not one of them, Lucas Torreira and Joe Willock, Matteo Guendouzi are people who are going to work hard in that position, and they will compensate for him. Emery has the players to play this kind of system that he wants. I mean, you were there for his first press conference. He talked about wanting to be protagonists and play attacking football and play pressing football. Yeah. He has the players. You've got to compensate for Mesut Ozil. We all understand that. Yeah. I mean, that's a point that's accepted amongst every single Arsenal fan. You have to compensate. He has the players to do it, so why doesn't he do it?
And it can bring Aubameyang into that. Again, that's the second or third game I've seen in recent weeks. Aubameyang just looks isolated.
Yeah.
Ozil will just slip the odd pass through. I'll stop banging this drum.
But you're absolutely right. But why? Why doesn't that happen?
Well, I mean, there's been talk in recent...
Sure.
There's been talk in recent weeks of the club's hierarchy kind of agreeing with Unai Emery and saying, we don't want to play it. But why? You have a player...
We've got to accept that he's not going to start, basically.
Yeah, but it's ridiculous. You have a player who's capable...
We've seen Emery and Ozil.
But he was at the game. He was at the game yesterday, and he's still positive about the players and still saying, "Come on, boys!" Like he is still.
He's not positive about Emery though,
but he's still positive about the team.
Emery's
so there's obviously it's not like he switched off.
I'll tell you what, he's not agitating. He was sat there with his coat yesterday.
But then obviously you're not on social media. You're not a smartphone. He posted. He posted something on his Instagram.
You're not on the internet. You don't matter.
He posted something on it's just 15 million followers on Instagram or whatever, and he basically said, "I'm laughing at this," whatever the line was.
Did he say?
You make me laugh.
He did.
You made me laugh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, and that was a direct reference to his boss, Unai Emery.
Not starting him against Victoria.
Absolutely. So what does that say? Honestly,
it says he's totally right.
No!
Since
we need to get him on smartphone. We need to get him on Twitter and Instagram.
We haven't got time to explain to Glenn the merits of
the question.
We'll be here all night.
The question
Mate,
I've asked,
I've got a smartphone. Can I just say to the camera, I'm all over the Twitter on the laptop at home.
I'm all over the Twitter.
He's only got a Twitter account.
He's not logged in. Incognito.
The question you got one of those. So
your account.
So you
Amy Lawrence, Danny Baker. That's about
Emery. Right? And Emery selects him to be one of his 5 captains. How does that track?
Right.
How does that work? How does Emery not agree with those?
What was your line?
Do you know what? My answer to that is...
What was your line in the post-match where he said he's too mysterious for me to figure out? That's another one.
Managers move in mysterious ways.
That was actually quite funny for
That was good. Like
Do you know what? So my answer to that is something we said in the first half is because Unai Emery has no bottle. If he doesn't name Mesut Ozil the captain, who is the longest serving player at Arsenal Football Club at the moment, obviously Aaron Ramsey and Carl Jenkins left in the summer, making him the longest serving player in Arsenal squad. Yeah, if you don't name him as captain, fans are going to go, why is Ozil not captain? Why is Ozil not this? Why is Ozil not that?
I don't know if they would have done because he doesn't start.
No, I think they would have. I mean, you look at the reaction to him.
15 million followers.
Yeah, you look at the reaction to him not being in the squad. Yeah. When Arsenal name a team, there's never a look on the positive side of he's playing, this could be good. There's always, where's Mesut Ozil? Yeah. Where's Mesut Ozil? It's because Arsenal fans want to see him. He's the club's best played player. He was the club's record signing, obviously, before Lacazette and Aubameyang.
World Cup winner.
Exactly. He's a World Cup winner. He's the standout player. If you look at Arsenal's squad, you look at Aubameyang, you look at Mesut Ozil, you go, they're the 2 best players in that team. So why isn't he playing?
Mustafi's a World Cup winner and one of our most expensive signings. We don't play him either.
Okay.
Have you got the Mustafi badge?
There's the exception.
Throw the spanner in the works.
We've also got a Mustafi badge.
Disgraceful.
I just want to say,
Mustafi. Every game he's played this season, he's done well.
Do you know, as if you've just defeated an educated, insightful point with Mustafi. Do you know what? I'm leaving.
I just want to reiterate, we have got an Aubameyang badge somewhere. We didn't just...
I thought he disappeared like Mesut Ozil.
But I think these parallels with the poor runs at the end of the last season, where Emery ran out of ideas. During that unbeaten run, Emery had all the ideas.
Yeah.
He was perfect. Now he's been found out again at the start of this season after an okay run at the start. Something has to change. Yeah. What is that change? It's a very fundamental change. Obviously, it could be Xhaka coming out of the lineup. I don't think the strikers are obviously capable of scoring. There's a disconnect between the midfield and the attack, isn't there?
If someone can pass to Aubameyang, we might score.
Basically, it's passing to Aubameyang. How do Arsenal get from the Leno to Aubameyang more successfully? Possibly, but that's not going to happen. So realistically,
why
you
get rid of Emery then? I'm sorry, there's no other way about it for me.
That's the next question. When does the patience run out with Emery?
Now. Emery has said he's working really hard in training. He's not quite there on that.
Emery says a lot of things.
Stop putting this veil over whatever is happening. Has this come from on high? Are the board saying just engineer him out until he gets fed up? I'll tell you what, I really respect Mesut. If he stays there, don't get out of right, boys. That's my favourite podcast so far. But go on. If he stays there longer than Emery, I'll be well chuffed because he is a talent. He's brilliant, but we are really wasting a resource.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just one little flick, one little toe poke to Aubameyang and that. I would just I just want to see it. Give him 4 or 5 games. I want to see that.
Do you think it could be a post-Wenger hangover?
No.
In terms of when Wenger was manager, he was in charge of such a large swathe of control and influence in the club. And obviously they brought new people in to take over certain elements of it that they've not actually quite worked out a happy medium of who does what and how. But they've actually not actually understood what their positions are. They're all sort of butting heads in the board level. That when we were under Wenger, we didn't have that problem because he did everything.
I kind of got the sense yesterday of you just, apart from the first 10-20 minutes where I don't know what you guys thought, but I looked at it and went, do you know what? The penny might have dropped here. We've got the tempo, we've got the intensity, we're going at teams. But there's just
set pieces though, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, we scored for 2 set pieces, but you look at the team and you go, what is even going on here? There's a lack of identity, there's a lack of understanding, there's a lack of tactical nous, and it's an absolute mess.
Did you see the one part in the game? I don't know if you saw it, but there was one part where Pepe and Lacazette swapped. Yeah. Pepe was playing through the middle and Lacazette was on the wing. And me and Leif were watching it. Leif obviously didn't stand up at this point.
I was actually ruined. I was so tired.
I said to him,
12 miles.
I said to him,
Leif's just recovering now.
I said to him, Pepe's playing through the middle. Why is that? Lacazzette's obviously not fully fit, so just pull him off.
But he pushes and pulls Pepe all over the place.
But was that Emery's choice, or was that Pepe and Lacazette decided together? Yeah. Oh, let's just swap for a minute. Have a breather.
Look at it this way. I mentioned this on Monday with Pepe when he kind of had a bit. Obviously, he was one of Arsenal's bright sparks against Sheffield United, but it was still a poor performance from a player that you paid so much money for. You look at him and you think the system's not going to work for him. He doesn't want to play neat 1-2s on the edge of the box. He wants space to run at people.
He's a runner, isn't he?
Yeah. And then you look at Lacazette and you think, what is Lacazette's best quality? Lacazette's best quality is inside the penalty area when he's finishing a chance. You don't want him out wide.
Yeah, no.
Why is he there? Yeah. And you look at Ceballos as well. Why is he out on the left-hand side? Yeah. Ceballos is best when he's deep, playing into that gap with a player, Mesut Ozil, who's linking the defence and attack.
Yeah, very good question. Why was Ceballos playing that position?
I have no idea.
The managers obviously put him in that position. What do we say?
Well, I mean, I said this yesterday, didn't I? That he just looks absolutely bereft of ideas. He looks like a man who's thinking, "What can I do now?" I mean, this is how I analysed it in the video yesterday. Yeah. He's just standing in front of the tactics board and he's going, "Pick a random player. We'll pick Ceballos."
But why is he not?
He'll go out on the left.
Why?
So Dan, when was your moment where you were starting to really lose faith in Emery then?
I
don't know whether you fully stopped, but when did you stop?
Do you know what? Good evening. No, do you know what? Personally, I think the Burnley game, and that's going way back.
Okay, wow.
Because you're playing Burnley. And no offence to Burnley. I've got a mate who's from Burnley. He's a really big Burnley fan. He's an absolutely sound guy.
Have you got any friends?
You're the only one, mate. No, I've got a mate who's from Burnley. He's a big Burnley fan. He loves Burnley to bits. Burnley, if you look in terms of Premier League quality, are not the best team. We know that. Yeah. If you look at the Wenger era, you play Burnley at home and you beat them 4-0. We've seen that in the past. Okay?
Yeah, we had a few scraps.
Yeah, I know. Burnley are no disrespect to Burnley, but a decent top side. But you should play at home and dominate Burnley. You should keep the ball, create chances. But Burnley look dangerous throughout. And you look at Bournemouth, exactly the same. You look at Villa, exactly the same. I don't know how they won the Villa game, because they were absolutely dreadful.
I just think the way Ceballos thrived within the system against Burnley was very impressive.
Yeah, it was a one-off.
It was no. It's a real shame that Ceballos really hasn't turned up.
He faded massively.
Really hasn't, has he? What's that about?
Best thing he did yesterday was bring the ball out of the air. It stuck to his foot.
I don't know if he lost confidence. Do you remember when he came on?
We all did cheer that.
But you say it's impressive. You set up in Bergkamp every week in, week out through the noughties and the 90s, and you think, whatever. That's bang average, isn't it?
Do you think that's a problem with Arsenal fans, though? Because we've been so precious in the past with having fantastic players that we're somewhat spoiled. And now we expect absolute excellence and perfection from every player.
Of course.
You're not going to get that from every single squad and every single player.
The one thing I'll say, I want to qualify this with Rosie. Okay. Not about Ozil, don't worry.
Okay, it's fine.
We have got a crap away record now, but I'm now getting worried about
the home.
The one thing we used to have was
Arsenal's still unbeaten at home this season.
We're unbeaten, but
too many.
They're still dreadful.
Generally, they were wins, weren't they?
Yeah.
And now we're sort of like. I mean, yesterday we went 2-0 up, and I've got a few cynical old chaps around me, like my age.
You attract them, mate.
My mate John leant over to me and goes, "I bet we can't even defend this lead," and he was right.
Yeah.
And
to be fair, in every single prediction I've given, I've never said the Arsenal type of clean sheet. I've always gone 2-1, 3-1, 4-1.
You just don't feel like it's going to happen. Yeah.
I mean, so the away record is bad enough, but now I think we're just getting chiselled away at home as well, aren't we?
I mean, you think about kind of the latter years of Wenger, and the things that spring to mind are the quality goals. You look at Wilshere against Norwich, Rosicky against Sunderland. I go to the Emirates now, and I think, I'm not going to watch an exciting game here. I'm going to watch an absolute...
Why is that? Seriously.
Because there's no tempo. There's no intensity. Unai Emery's fault. I'm sorry.
Really?
Do you know what? I tweeted this earlier, and I said it was kind of in conjunction with the VAR, which I'm sure we'll come on to at some point. But I was a fan of Emery and I was a fan of VAR, and now I look at them both, go, I don't know what's going on here. You've literally got one of the best creative players in the world in Mesut Ozil. Obviously, he's faded in recent years. He doesn't run around, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We've all heard the whatever. But he's the one player who will create you a chance. And
would you pick him?
Yes.
Where would you play him?
I'd play him as an attack. I could literally name my best Arsenal 11 now.
4-2-3-1.
Yeah, okay. You want it now?
Yeah,
go
on. I'd pick Leno in goal, Bellerin right back, holding Socrates centre backs, Tierney left back, holding midfielders of Guendouzi and Torreira.
Yeah.
Your midfield three in the 4-2-3-1 of Bamia on the left, Ozil as attacking midfielder, Pepe on the right, Lacazette up front.
And I think
correct.
Thank you. This is the point I've been making.
Brilliant. I completely agree with that.
That's a good lineup, but
who are you going to replace then?
No, Emery wants to play out the back, and I can't see that back four coming out the back.
Okay, so name me some.
No, I know there isn't.
Hang on, exactly. My point exactly. So the style. I said this earlier. I said this earlier about the style, didn't I? You want to play out from the back. You don't have the players to do it. So just draw the opposition on and go in behind. It's simple logic. Even we can all see it as fans. You look at the team and you go, "This is wrong."
I think we could say and have this conversation for years. Yeah. Nothing's going to change until Emery admits he's wrong, and it's not going to happen. This is the thing.
Why have we got another manager?
I let it slide, he's adapting, we'll give him time. But these aren't mistakes, these are habits that are happening and it's not improving us at all. We're getting worse, if anything.
Well, we seem to have these psychopaths in charge of the club.
That's what you want to hear.
And it's just, it's not going to get better.
Essentially, the definition, you keep doing the same thing, thinking
You said I wasted a £5 on that scarf.
But Rose,
yes.
I'm still filming, I assume.
Let's hope so.
How quick have Leicester and Chelsea turned things around? I think that's a really worrying sign.
Yeah,
I agree.
Lampard's hit the ground running. Yeah. Rodgers, that we're all a bit snooty about. I think they were close to appointing Rodgers actually, and then it sort of leaked out on
Arsenal.
That would have been. I think that would have been.
Do you know what?
I think Leicester.
Why do you think that?
Leicester.
It wasn't close. It wasn't close.
Okay, right. Okay, you got better inside
track. It wasn't close.
But you know what?
Everyone got a bit sniffy, but he's turned it around very quick.
Because both of those managers have recognised their best starting 11s and the best way to play those teams, which we haven't done.
You say though, it took Lampard 5 weeks to realise Pulisic.
But that's fine. 5 weeks is fine. A year and a half is not okay.
Do you know what, Rosie? I want to pose you a question. You were at Leicester 9, Southampton. I can't believe I'm still saying it. Leicester 9, Southampton 0. Okay. And for you to have been at that game and it was Arsenal against Southampton, do you think you would have seen a result like that?
No.
Exactly.
And this is what I'm saying. Leicester have got a team that are organised well and will consistently keep pushing to score a goal.
They've got a lot of good
Rodgers
players.
said at half time, keep attacking them at 5-0 up at half time. And they win 9-0 and break the Premier League record.
Of course.
But you wouldn't see that as Arsenal. You wouldn't see it under Wenger in the later years. I don't even think you would have seen it in the earlier years.
I'll tell you what
I think it's progression in management nowadays and being able to identify your key players and play to their strengths, which I don't think Arsenal have ever done.
You can't argue with that.
Do you know what happened to us? It would have been one. I want to say it's a lot harder to play against 10 people than 11.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna make a point a bit slightly off topic. We're obviously talking about Mesut Ozil. Right. You look at Leicester. Do you think James Maddison could be someone who you put into the Arsenal team and go, do you know what? He'll
Great player.
He's a quality player.
I think the same about Jack Grealish as well.
Grealish as well.
Yeah.
Grealish destroyed us.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
We've got chunky calves.
Oh, his socks are... Do you know what? Do you know what? I remember watching Jack Grealish. I remember watching Jack Grealish play for Notts County on loan against Stevenage. And do you know what? Simon Heslop, who is now playing non-league football, almost killed him. Do you know, that's the kind of moments that make players like Jack Grealish. And massive credit to him and James Maddison who've come up through the leagues and have gone, do you know what? I'm going to work hard to get where I am. So big credit to them.
I agree with you, Dan. His head was nearly turned. He was going to go to Spurs when they went down. I'll tell you, when they came to the Emirates, there was a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth. But I'll tell you what, him... Mings, is it Mings?
Yeah, centre half, yeah.
And who's the other guy?
Hurahan.
No,
that's the one
little forward who scored. McGinn.
Yeah, McGinn was class. Yeah.
He's good against Arsenal.
They have got a good set of players there. Jack Grealish really impressed me.
Yes.
Do you know what? This is the thing. You look at the Arsenal squad, and do you know, as Arsenal fans, we want world class players. I mean. You three especially, you can look at the 90s and go, do you know what? Bring world-class players in.
60s.
But surely... Sorry, Serge.
It's the beard again.
Serge, it was the greys in the side, I'm sorry. But you've got to look now and think, surely we want players that are going to battle rather than trying to spend ridiculous money on players that maybe aren't going to perform.
Yeah.
Would you not want that?
Yeah.
I'll tell you one key missing link this year, and I was not an advocate of him, but last year he really was a big Aaron Ramsey.
Close.
Everyone loves Aaron Ramsey.
Well, not to a point, did they? And Coquelin slagged off. He slagged off Xhaka today.
Oh, did he?
Oh, good.
Said he was just unprofessional.
Yeah, agreed. Fair play to him.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
We never should have let Coquelin go.
That's why the Xhaka Barca was 29 because Coquelin was wearing the 34.
And Jermaine Pennant.
Okay, maybe.
Right, you heard it first. Jermaine Pennant.
Seriously.
Go on.
I promise you.
Go on.
Get it on your Twitter and your computer.
Get your smartphones out.
Get your computers out and your Pac-Man.
What's the next topic, baby?
Come on. To talk about something relatively positive. Pepe on Thursday night. I thought he was fantastic. 2 fantastic goals. And obviously he's a confidence player. Obviously we can argue whether the atmosphere in the Emirates dressing room is correct for a confidence player right now. But Pepe, he sort of finally came good, didn't he, in that game? I mean, what did you think of his performance there? Were you watching that?
I was watching it, but I was watching it on a stream, which was slightly behind what I was seeing on Twitter, and I said,
sorry.
So, I just jumped up. I was like, Pepe scored, and my boyfriend was like, no, he ain't. I was like, no, Pepe scored. So we watched him stand up for the first free kick, and we were like, he ain't going to score from here, like, what's going to happen? And he scored from it, and we were like, wait, seriously, like, what's just happened? So the same thing happened again a bit later. Pepe scored again. And again, it was like, no, he ain't. It's like, no, he really has. And he's lining up for another free kick. It's like, if he does this, let's all go crazy. And my flatmate supports Tranmere Rovers, the other one supports Newcastle, and the other one's a Liverpool fan. So we all agreed, if he actually scores this set piece, we'll all like do limbs in the front room.
Do limbs.
Yeah.
No, that is my favourite phrase ever. Do limbs in the front room.
So, like, in conclusion, we did limbs because it happened. It happened. And I was so happy.
That's the best thing ever said in this podcast.
Yeah. We did limbs. We did limbs because of Pepe.
Yeah, Glenn's very confused.
I'm as old as Gunnosaurus. What is it? Just do limbs.
Like limbs is when like you celebrate so hard your body.
So you
can we do limbs on the podcast soon? Do you know what? I want to make a point on Pepe.
Leif was limbs in the Frankfurt away.
Leif's always limbs. Look at it. Joe, I want to make a point on Pepe. And at the time, I thought, do you know what? Pepe's proven it here. He's proven his price tag. But there's part of me that looks at Pepe and I want you to do an open play. Obviously, obviously,
he does to a point.
No. Credit to Pepe. He's a confidence player. I mean, us three have said that in the past, haven't we? To score 2 free kicks like that is world class. But with the second one, I thought, do you know what, he's going to put this in. He's just going to score, and he did.
Did you think that though? Did you think it was going to?
Do you know what? I tell you what. I'm in the you know I'm in the press box. I literally, before he took the free kick, I typed down the tweet that he's going to score, and he did.
I thought he'd probably
No. But the point, my point is,
down the prophet.
Mate, I'm the oracle. I want to see him do an open play. I want to see him. Like, obviously, we know he's great with the ball at his feet and beating players. But I want to see him just score a goal on an open play. He's obviously scored 2 free kicks and a penalty. A goal and open play is bigger for me because you've got to obviously adapt to the situation around you, react, whatever. Things are different.
It takes a lot to score a free kick.
No, obviously, no.
I'm not
taking it away from him. No, of course. I don't want to take it away from him.
It's a massive bonus as well for Arsenal that he's assisted. Well, not assisted because it was 2 really
No. They were both his creating. I'm sorry. I'm not having Xhaka assist.
Yeah, he made them with great balls.
I'll tell you what though, Guendouzi's dummy was amazing, wasn't it?
Let's talk about the tackle.
I'm not taking this free kick.
What was Guendouzi's spear tackle against Zaha?
That was the best bit of defending in that game. That was Arsenal's best bit of defending.
Seriously.
He literally rugby tackled him, but it was better than anything Luis did all game.
Loved it.
Did you see Zaha's tweet afterwards?
NFL's at Wembley.
I've got my story about the Europa League last week. So Helen was at home.
Oh, this is class.
In the front room watching RuPaul's Drag Race.
I watch that.
Yeah, it's quality. Yeah.
Honestly.
That is not the story.
Anyway, Leif, back in your box.
I'm on the laptop in the spare room.
I love a wiggler.
Anyway.
Do you watch RuPaul's Drag Race?
It's brilliant.
Oh, man.
I'd high five him if he wasn't so dour. Seriously.
Okay.
Can I just high five you anyway?
Do you know what? This podcast is degenerating. Continue with your Pepe story.
RuPaul's Drag Race, seriously.
It's not even a Pepe story. I've lost my thread now. So yeah, I was watching. I was trying to watch the Arsenal on the laptop with my BT feed. It kept buffering. Right, so I kept going through to Helen in the sitting room, going, "You're using up all the." She goes, "You don't understand the internet." I was going, "You're using all the petrol."
What do you mean you're on Twitter? You've got a smartphone. Come on, you must understand.
So I went back in.
Smartphone.
So it was sort of like,
2019.
And 8 2 1 buffer.
Well, that's just Xhaka in defence.
Wait for it. We got to the end. My phone's going. My antiquated phone.
Antiquated phone.
That's Nokia
3210.
Don't slag off the Nokia like that. Come on.
Yeah.
Right, it's a good story actually.
Worth a fortune.
I'm looking at a sort of like circle going round and round. I've got 2 texts going. I've got to admit they were 2 good strikes. I don't know. round and round and round. I go through to Helen. She goes, "Oh, apparently we're on 3-2." I don't know. I've never seen it.
You were sitting there in your full Mesut Ozil outfit. With your
Yeah, I was. I had my shin pads on.
Do you know what? You're buffering for so long. Mesut Ozil's got to start.
Yes.
Play the game.
So I never got to see them live.
When you're going to get a smartphone at any time in the 20th century.
I don't think a smartphone.
21st century.
Probably before you eat that
You just
pizza.
get better into this.
So yes. Sorry, that was my little story.
When you got those texts, how high were your arms?
Yeah.
He was strangling himself.
For anyone who doesn't know, if Glenn's really annoyed, he really
Basically, anytime
They're up in his armpits. They're right up.
They're going higher and higher.
I'm the only bloke who has to put deodorant on his fingertip.
Amazing. Glenn, another Glenn story. What was your story about getting into the ground on Sunday? We were going to talk about that.
Very good point, Simon. Yeah.
Chaotic. I'll say it very quickly.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Please do.
I read the itinerary.
Itinerary.
This is slow.
I don't really
So no, I went to do the walk and talk at the very late stage at Parbury
But
Corner.
you had a really big night.
You got there.
Me and Serge
You
were
should have walked from
12
Sellers
miles,
Park, mate.
and you couldn't be bothered to turn up until we got to N5.
Sorry about that.
Glenn, ignore them. Ignore them. You tell your story. Ignore these two.
Seriously.
I feel like I'm being trolled.
Keep going. Keep going.
Come
on.
So, you know about trolling?
Anyway, so I got to the ground about 4 o'clock. It took me, honestly, you know when you go to the armory and turn right and there's that ramp coming up? I was like fenced in. It was really busy.
Please
And
Bleep that.
took me ages and ages to get in. And go up to the gate and there was a little fella smaller than me going,
How small was that?
Dwarf.
A dwarf. Literally.
Was it Mesut
Sorry.
Ozil saying you're my biggest fan?
Without the dress sense, to be fair.
right.
As the host, I'm going to ask for silence.
Well, apparently it's a new ticket entry system. Instead of inserting the card, you have to just tap it. I don't understand why it caused mayhem. Okay, it was absolutely rammed outside. It took me half an hour to get in, and I did notice that the majority of people who were struggling with it were wearing the hats. That,
Glenn, show us the hat, please.
Glenn,
where's the hat?
that came in a membership pack.
Oh man, this hat is awful. It's worse than Granite Xhaka. Where's the hat? Under your foot, Glenn.
Along
There we
with,
go.
not only do we have to put up with VAR, they consider this an essential guide to being an Arsenal fan. So,
That is beautiful.
To be fair, Glenn.
there you go. Apparently, that's all about Arsenal. That's our history and everything.
Glenn, you look so warm in that hat. To be fair, proper toasty.
Seriously, shocking. Yeah.
Right, well.
Would you wear that at Anfield on Wednesday? I don't think.
I don't think
What do you
so,
mean? We've
no.
got one each. Come on.
Proper Arsenal ultras are going to be wearing that. Like,
I'll wear
basically.
Exactly.
I wear it with a Xhaka pin.
It covered my ball patch.
Bald patch.
That is to be fair, Toby, that is a rather large patch.
Anyway, next up, Arsenal got Liverpool, and then Wolves. We'll be talking about them in the next podcast. Any final thoughts from any of you guys?
Yeah.
I know you
not
have
Amy.
something.
I'm obsessed with Amy Lawrence. Sorry.
Anyway.
Rose is going to Liverpool.
Great insight there, Glenn.
Anything to add, Glenn? Or
9 hours.
Oh, you're going on the
Oh
coach,
yeah.
aren't
So
you?
yeah.
This is another one of Rose's excellent away days. Like
Yeah, I just like travelling. This is the thing. I like travelling the cheapest and slowest way.
you should go with Leif.
So yeah.
You'll be an hour late.
And the most dangerous.
Yeah.
Southampton to Liverpool on a megabus.
Yes.
Wow.
What's that?
Do you like pace?
Commitment.
It's a £10 return for each person.
Love it.
It's
Love
a
it.
5:30 start, and you get back at 8 o'clock the next morning.
So what?
Do you know what?
So what are you
So
going to
you
do
could go
on the
up there
travel?
to watch us lose
How
the
are you going to
Liverpool
amuse yourself
under-21s
for 72 hours, or whatever it is?
Just try and think we'll win.
Nah, do you know what? She's going to watch Martinelli bang a hat-trick at Anfield.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah.
let's hope so.
Can I just say, fair play to Rosie, that's a proper fan. That is a proper fan. Big ups to you, Rosie. Fair play.
I'm going to end this podcast now.
It's broken down.
Thank you very much for watching. We haven't actually got it on the table today, I'm not sure why, but please subscribe to the Gooner Fanzine, physical Gooner Fanzine, and also please subscribe to Gooner Fanzine TV. Really helps us, and also like the video, and comment below any of your thoughts. Really enjoyed this conversation. We got to a lot of points. Well, Emery and Xhaka. They're the main points.
And a pizza.
As Leighton would say, like, subscribe, YouTube, whatever that means. And thanks for watching.
It's free.
Cheers. Thanks very much. Cheers.
We are going to get absolutely bullied.
No.